March from last year. It was not our best March ever though, but it was really like 100 wholesale from our best March ever. And what I was really excited about.
Wait a minute. $100 wholesale from your best March ever, and you couldn't put in
It might have been
101?
10,000 wholesale now that I think.
What?
It might have been
you?
10,000.
Whoops! Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
You knew that?
yeah. I didn't know that was like I had to finish that.
You don't ever want to beat your best and say this was our best one ever, except it was our best one except for $100.
You don't tell her.
Well, I didn't say that to my unit. I was tracking.
But in your head, you know.
I did know. Yes.
I'm trying your cornbread.
I'm
We're
just
helping.
Talk about what you did and not tell her, okay?
I'm just
Please in trouble.
questioning
Just so
because
tell her.
if you would let that slide, what if down the road you just needed 200 more to be your blah 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 and you da 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 da? You always do that and then some. That won't
Sorry.
happen again, right?
No,
Okay.
well, or I
Okay.
won't tell you. If What I was most excited about was we had 7 new unit members and 5 different recruiters.
Oh,
So that
that's
was, of course, I'm
excellent.
trying to get up to 10 recruiters a month. So that was a big plus for us.
Yes, yes. Where did those people lie? Were they brand new? Were they added one? Did they closer to a red? What
I
were you
have a
saying?
reignited consultant. She was a red to help me finish the cruise and hasn't done anything. And she's a teacher, and she is just like over teaching.
Oh.
Like, and she put in her 4-year letter to leave, and she's trying to build her unit. So she was one of them, and she's almost an elite now. Yeah, and
That's good.
I'm trying to think back. The rest of them are all within their first year of business.
Okay.
So
So is Elite 5? Is that, what do they? Eight.
Oh,
Eight
boy,
is
Sarah.
Elite and,
let Sarah explain it.
It's 8,
Okay,
or
8.
it's 5, plus one of them in red.
So one of the 5 is in red, then it's Elite. So it's either or.
Yes.
Because I know I
I was
read and it was so
obviously-
confusing. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah. So,
all right.
Uh-huh.
so she's at 7 active.
Thank you.
And she has a senior on her team. So we're working that way.
That is great.
So that's what I'm most excited about is having the different people recruiting and building a lot
Yes.
of different teams. So,
Thank you, Megan.
so yeah. And we finished the $300,000 circle. We finished that. Like March 8th.
Like not writing.
March 8th.
That has got to feel
So
like
that was
something else, huh?
That was good.
Yes. I truly am excited for you, but I am never gonna let you go. Aren't you just so glad you got somebody that nudges you just a smidge? Just a little smidge.
I do think of that stuff ever since I've hung out with you more.
Yeah. I had the one time I showed up here without my numbers, I'm like, I ain't doing that again.
That happened. That's
It
why our
helps.
conversation
It
was
really
like,
helps.
well, what was your highest commission check? Like, what else would you have to do to make it higher? Because I knew that'd be a
Definitely, you wanna know that.
Yeah, it's important.
Because you push, oh, here's one. I would like that Sprite, please.
thank you.
Okay. Oh, I should.
Would you like more ice added?
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
You can have mine too, I've never touched it.
Everybody's giving you their water. Here, have this. Here, have
Stop
this.
it on the way
At this
home
end,
again.
we aren't gonna
You're
infuse
gonna
up
make it helpful.
in case you needed that, yeah.
I would like more too when you come back, please.
I'm okay.
Tanny, am I shifting to you now? There you go.
Looks like Candy, you're up.
So we had a really great March. Also, we did 32,257.
Wait a minute, 32,000.
Woohoo!
Wow, 32,000 is, you know that's right up there where you need to be
Where I
for-
need to be,
for a
yeah.
million, right?
Yep.
How are we doing with that? I know that's
Well,
a goal.
I'm tracking 700,000.
Okay.
We need
Which
to do.
would be your very best.
It would be my best
Best
year ever.
ever.
Yep.
It's a terrible problem to have.
All right.
But what excites me about that is to do million, we'd have to be 46% over last year at the end of June. And year to date, we are 47% over last year. So that's pretty normal for my unit that lasts, I think a lot of the Mary Kay world, that
April,
last
May,
quarter,
June.
April, May,
Yeah.
June.
Right.
So I'm just focusing on the belief that even though I did crunch the number, I was like, oh, that's 77,000 wholesale a month from April, May, June, which that seems crazy, but yeah. But the percentage wise, with the unit size and everything going on, I feel like it's gonna happen.
Do you have some people inspired by this double credit thing, or what? do
Yeah, you know it's twice as nice, right? Not double credit.
they- Okay, I'm sorry, not double credit, but
Yeah,
just be for recruiting, but still getting new people in.
Right.
Would make a difference.
right,
If
exactly.
they thought they could
Yep,
do
and
that.
even like ones that came in January, February, March, if they get Great Start qualified in April, they count as it. So
Okay.
that is a shift of being able to look at, okay, who's come in those months? How much more would they need to order?
So
That
they'll
would help
count
with
for
your
that
production.
double, for
Yeah,
that twice,
for
okay,
the
I didn't
twice
know
as
about
nice,
that, because we
yeah.
had some that joined last month and they haven't ordered yet, so I didn't know how that worked, okay.
Yeah, if they've ordered
They
any,
count.
but if they get Great Start qualified in April, they could have recruited January, February, March, April, but as long as they get Great Start recruited in April, they count as a twice as nice.
But they get the $100 bonus if they were recruited January, February, March, correct?
Yes.
Or April.
That's what I read, yeah.
Or April.
Yeah.
But the only ones that are recruited in April get the twice as nice. Is that right?
No,
They all count.
they all
They all
count.
count.
Even from January?
So
Yeah.
like if somebody recruited last month and they placed they haven't placed their order yet, they do a 600 this month, it still counts as the twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I understood.
Yeah. I mean, I reread it a few times.
I'm like,
But
maybe I
everybody
need to go
else
back
too.
and
Yeah.
reread
I
it,
didn't
but
read that.
I didn't question that at all until you questioned that, but I'm
no,
pretty
I'll look
sure.
it up.
Even
Okay.
me, who doesn't get it all, even I understood that
Okay.
was, that's what I thought it
Yeah.
said too, that you
For
could
the
add
100
that.
and the twice as nice.
They
Thank
were,
you.
They were really giving you another reason why
Right.
to do it.
Right. Also, last month we crossed the 500,000 mark. So that was
In
a
March.
big, yeah, that was definitely a first. We had, I did the Boss Babe Beach Retreat. I know I just kind of barely
Yeah.
mentioned that last month, and it was so wonderful. Like everything about it, the camaraderie of the group, the just
I know your mom was
excitement.
coming,
My
but who
mom
else?
was there.
Who came?
So my mom, Mary Morse, she used to be an Offspring, and she stepped down during the last year, and so she's the one that owns the condo, and then she lives in Florida. Mary Pasca, she's not quite in red yet, which was one of the qualifications, but she got to go anyway. Because I decided. And then Ashley Payton, she is an elite team leader, just went on target this month, or last month. So she's on target, and her goal is to go into DIQ. She's also tracking Florida sales, and her goal is to do 50. So she was one of them. And then Jamie Jarvis, she's my assistant and also a personal team member.
I remember her.
Yes, yeah. And then my mom. So it was just a really great group. The training was perfect. I used some of Linda Tupin's Choices training that is chunked up into 8 different little spots. And then we would talk about it, and I had training to go with it. I took another person's training, Brenda Howell, who I've never met, but you told me I think is one of Linda Tupin's. She had a really great 40 customers training that I will share with you guys once I get it finished up. But I changed the whole thing to look like our unit. But the concept is to build 40 rock solid customers that purchase 24 items out of the year. Some items will purchase more than once, but it's not just really for us, it's to teach our consultants how to have great customer service, how to follow up, how to track it, how to notice oh, she's not using primer. Hey, have you ever used primer before? Can I get you a sample? Would you like to try it? So I kind of launched that with the Boss Babe Beach Retreat, and then went ahead and shared it with the unit. So I'm still making a couple more changes to it after everybody's implementing some stuff, but that was a great thing that they're all excited about too. And I think that's all.
30 is pretty good.
And I silver or gold medal, or not gold medal, what is it, bronze with 3?
Because when it's not on, it's good, but for
I
some
just
reason,
realized that.
sometimes
Oh,
it
I'm
just
sorry.
starts.
I didn't realize you put it there.
Right, I agree. How did it feel? Was 33, how did that compare to what you've done?
In the past. Well, that's my tracking. I haven't watched too much. I know over last year it was higher. I do think I have that one with me. I could look up. But one thing I did watch because of you and because of my conversation with Sarah, of her telling me like, I think it was not our highest, but I have all these commission. I'm like, is it your highest commission? So then I looked at mine and I was like 9,900 and some dollars in commission. So I placed an order. So I'd have over $10,000 commission check.
You're like, yes.
Because that would seem silly not to have a double digit.
It sure would, to be
Yeah.
able to say
Yes.
that.
So
You
that
don't
was a
remember
push.
9 something.
No,
You
that's
remember
like not
10.
yes,
1,000.
exactly.
Jamie, wish you hadn't
I pushed
mentioned that.
Jamie's like, I am getting picked on today. All right, you guys, this is what Twice as Nice says. It says how to qualify, make April count this year, and earn Seminar 2022 additional credit toward the Queen's Court of Sharing. Independent beauty consultants and directors can earn additional credit toward Seminar 2022 Court of Sharing for up to 6 new personal team members who become Great Start qualified from April 1st to April 30th.
Okay.
So that is Twice as Nice, but it's the other one where they get the $100 bonus. What is that one called?
Yeah, but that's still just like it didn't say recruited in
No,
what you
it
just
says
read.
recruit
It just said and got great start qualified April 1st through 30th. Because that would be correct.
Oh, here's
still.
facts here. Okay, let me look at these.
Oh, that's a lot.
Okay, it says
That's a lot of.
A lot of
Verbiage.
information.
A lot of frequently asked
Isn't it
questions.
interesting that in all the years, they don't realize that when you don't have one place where something is
Yeah.
easily explained,
Yeah.
that you shouldn't
I
make
just figured
your
out the red
challenges
rally
so
is very
confusing.
Yeah.
the red rallies. We were,
I mean,
I keep calling
and
it red rallies.
it's gotta be, somebody makes these up that is never,
We were all.
do they ever
So
refer, like, do they
I'm
ask
just
you,
excited
or
for
do they
everyone
ask
for
you,
that.
hey, does that make sense, or will it make sense to you?
No, I think they're just doing it. Like, oh, let's do this.
Oh, without question, they're just doing it. I'm just saying, wouldn't you think
They
that
really need
somewhere
to- they
along
need
the
to
line
work
you
on
say,
In Touch, too. I think
let's
In Touch,
let's
some things are hard
try
search
to get this
find
so that it makes sense to everybody the first time they read it.
Well,
Like your
that
percentage
for
for ordering.
Zoom call helped, and I took
Oh,
notes on
good.
it, and I have that it's on both things. It's
There she
when
goes.
it comes in April. Doesn't matter if it came in January, February, March. That counts.
There you go.
That's what
Clarify.
my notes say anyway.
Well, when you hear it though, that's good too. If there
Oh,
is
yeah.
somebody that is giving it to you verbally, then it's come both ways. So then I shouldn't put them down because they did make a point of having it said to somebody where it would make sense. I think that's good.
No, Tandy, you're right. It says, does a new independent beauty consultant agreement need to be submitted in April? For the purposes of this promotion, a Great Start qualified new team member is one whose agreement is accepted January, February, March, or April. And then the accumulated order has to be received and accepted by April 1st, 2021.
What? That doesn't make sense.
Just recruit all the people and qualify them.
I will just encourage you
gonna make it
guys all
easier.
to go home and read this
And
because
track your
then it says
numbers.
something here about Great Start qualified is when their agreement is placed and received in April, then through June 2021. Or being a
That
star
doesn't even
consultant.
make sense.
It's crazy. So everyone go home and read that. And maybe that, yeah.
Or not.
So if you recruit them in April and they don't get Great Start qualified till June, that would still count for that?
No.
No, I didn't think that. It's just
I
for
vote just
April.
go, just
Just
go
go home
recruit
and read
6
it.
people
Yeah.
and call it a day.
Just get them qualified. and
Just
be done.
qualify
Call it a
6
day.
people and call it a day. I wish they would have done that last month because mine would have been done.
Okay, put it on Sarah
Five.
and have her.
Yes.
Okay.
Sarah, then we're coming over to
Give me a
you,
good
Miss
angle angle
Jody.
on it.
I was just making sure that
Perfect. You're up,
my
girlfriend.
chest wasn't in the side angle.
Sarah, are you
That's
Candy's
really
offspring?
Well, she thinks I am, but no.
Adopted.
It's her job. Yeah.
That's cute.
So March was, like you said, it was my best commission ever.
So awesome, Sarah.
Not
not the highest production. Our highest production was actually in June, which was my first month as a director, and I didn't even know what I was doing yet, and nobody even knew what June was yet. So I'm like, this is good. But it was because of those bonuses. So we had 7 new unit members. 3 were mine, so that's how I got here. And 5 of them came in Great Start qualified. So it was that development bonus plus 1, so 500 in that alone. And then 2 of those Great Starts were mine, so that was extra there. So because of that, it's what made it the highest commission.
Isn't it interesting that if you don't know that, if you don't, or I don't even want to say, it's not know, it's not to consciously realize I have control over that. And that's something that people, they just are so busy doing busy. They aren't busy strategic on what will make a difference in my money. So for you to concentrate on that is tremendous. It's a skill that you want to hone and use over and over and over again. Always. Well, I call it work at the angles. I don't know what else to call it, but it's like looking at all the different ways that I could make money, you know?
Yeah.
And that could involve other people. I could make money because that person gets qualified, or Great Start. I could make, but it's you've got to look at all the, do you ever call them streams of income? Have you ever called it that? You can call it whatever you want, but that's a language that a lot of people use as streams of income. So if it comes into your mind, like, what are the streams of income that I have as a director? You know, what's going to get added? Because you had to figure out your check. So you had to say, I can get a stream of income as if I get bonuses, right? What's your streams of income as a director? Tell me, what are they? My sales, okay. My
Personal team.
My personal team. Like if I don't have 5 that order, you know, I want to make sure that a 5th one. So stream of income. What else?
The team building, like she said,
That Great Start is
Okay.
huge.
My bonus that I could get. Okay. What other stream of income?
My year-end prize bonuses, because I don't take diamonds, I take cash.
Yeah.
wellness bonus.
Yes,
Yep.
Wellness bonus.
Star consultant bonus.
Yep.
Star consultant bonus. So I think if somewhere, I don't know where you would do that, it'd just be a mindset that would say, where are my streams of income that I make as a director, and have I looked at each one for this month? And if I've covered each one for this month, then I know I've nailed it. I can do that. But is that true? I don't think everybody really looks at that. That's
And I wouldn't have known any of that if Tanny didn't tell me. So when I first, we went to lunch early on, and she was like, okay, so here's all these bonuses. And I'm like, oh my gosh, slow down. Like, I gotta get, all this written down and figured out. And then she did, message me and was like, hey, where are you at? What are you, doing this month? And
Were you able to do a new director training if you came in last
it
June?
was virtual.
Virtual?
Yeah.
For a day? For a
couple hours. Yeah.
couple hours to be a new director.
Wow.
Normally you're there for 3 days.
I know. Well, they gave you the choice too. They said if you attended the virtual one, you couldn't attend the in-person one.
You could not.
Jeez.
They said that? I didn't
Maybe
know
they'll
they said
switch that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's
I
why
had
Connie didn't
canceled.
go.
I had canceled mine because I
asked
wanted
Mary
to go.
Brenda, and she said, yeah, you can do both, but I don't know when they're going to have that.
Well, now that's the other thing is it depends on who you say, so you need to ask at least 3 people because they don't all know. the
Exactly.
right answer.
But I had canceled my virtual one because when I read that, because I think you told me that we were reading
Connie,
it.
because Connie
And
told
Connie
the company
said it
and they
too.
said that, and that's why
And
she
they're like,
canceled
if you
hers.
Just remember that who is the company?
Mm-hmm.
They. Who is they? And so you need to call they 3 times to be sure that they say the same
because
thing.
I was having glitches with eLinks. People were going in to go to eLinks and it was taking them straight to
Yes, I had that too.
Hello Gorgeous,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
So I called and this lady said, well, get your new consultant on the phone with us. So I I had a 3-way phone call, and I said, this is what it's doing. And she said, well, ma'am, I have no idea what you're talking about because this is not happening. I said, it happened to me last month, and it's happening to me right now.
It happened. It's happened
She
to me.
goes, well, I don't know what you're talking. She was very rude. So finally, she just said, I'm going to send you to somebody else. I got to the next person. She said, oh, we had a ton of these last month. We're having a bunch now. And then she sent me to somebody else, and he's like, oh yeah, this has been a big glitch. So it's who you talk to. One lady said, acted like I was absolutely insane, and the other
You're like, well, I have to question that
I
sometimes
was
if
like,
I am.
yeah,
but
I was like, well, thank you for letting me know.
Thank
I'm
you.
not nuts. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And with something, whenever there's something like that, which seems kind of strange, like why couldn't I do virtual and go? I would always say, my mom will go to bat for me on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do the virtual, and if I choose and I
And I
wanna
did
go
end up
to
doing the
one,
virtual one.
then I was gonna say that
Yes.
my mom will go to bat for me, and it'll happen.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things, if there's not any, like, then I would say, I could be the one to make a phone call and say, you explain that to me, please? You know, why that wouldn't be possible for her?
We want to go sit in the tub.
Yes, so,
Yes.
so I would just
I'm
need
gonna go
to.
do
Like all
director
the cool
training.
things?
Yeah,
The
there are
food,
just
magic
certain,
food.
there are
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
things where you just know in
It's
your
the
heart
connections
that
with it, and
that
there's
would be
so much
okay.
idea
I'm
or
just so
creativity.
concerned that things are they're doing these events and they're good, they're great, don't get me wrong, but they're saving so much money, and I hope to God they're not gonna be like, well, they're still got their training and
Let's
cut
just,
corners.
let's hope that they won't.
Yeah,
We're gonna,
I
we're
hope
gonna
they
be
don't.
optimistic because
Yeah.
there's
I
still a
just
lot
really
of
hope they
a
don't.
lot of the
Yeah,
sales
they'll talk
force
about
that
it,
sees
yeah.
the value in it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as
I was
it
very
still
good with it.
continues to be a people oriented, I think it'll be just fine, and there'll be people
I'm
that'll
still
work for
sad
that.
no seminar though.
So
Yeah.
we also had a new red jacket.
Oh, go back.
Nice.
And we just did her debut last night. And what was neat about that was it, like the situation with the new elite, that bumped Kara up into elite team leader because she's got a red jacket now.
So cool.
Which is how we figured out for sure whether or not that was the
So then that
case.
bumped her
Never
check.
asked me about
Which you
those
called,
things.
again, you called the company.
I
and
did.
that's what they told
I
you,
got the
and
wrong
it was still
information
wrong.
from the company.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that was a really big deal to have that.
Especially if you
happen.
did it online and they got to
Yeah.
see that, what that means and
Mhm.
got that explained to them.
Yeah.
That was great
So.
to be able to share that.
And then I told her on the way up here, I said I was trying to remember. I was.
Did you
with
get to
my-
ride in the pink Cadillac?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, how was that?
It was great.
We live like 4 blocks
We're
from
not
each
that
other.
far away.
No
Yeah.
way.
We're both
Oh my
right there by
gosh,
each other.
that's awesome.
And she's been bringing her pink Cadillac to our church, and everybody's like, "Who is that? Sarah?" It's like,
I'm claiming it. I'm claiming
We're
it.
like,
I have
I
people
parked
ask
it in your
that all the time.
garage once
she did.
for
Yeah, I
you.
took a picture of
Like
it.
for a visual
Yeah.
for Sarah.
Yeah. But I was.
What town do you live in, or city?
Yeah, Oregon. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
City's a big word
Cities,
for it.
Yeah.
yeah. Village.
It's bigger than, I was gonna say it's bigger
It
than
is bigger than
Cedarville.
Cedarville.
It is bigger than.
We're a village.
But I was at my folks last week for my daughter's spring break, and so Craig stayed home, and I said, "Hey, do you remember what I used to make whenever I was teaching every month? Like, I was trying to remember, like, was it 32, 33? Like, I don't know." And he goes, "Yeah, I don't know, something like that. Why?" And so I screenshotted him my commission of like 31, and I was like, "Look, it's almost there." And he goes, "Wow." So that was really neat to be able to see that, like, because that's really my only frame of reference as far as like
What,
replacing your income. You know what I mean? So
I did the
that was
same
a
thing.
neat experience to have that too.
I looked at it, I quit my job exactly 6 months ago.
Can I,
It was exciting.
just a learning moment that, that precipitated a thought to me. When I've done some different trainings, one of the things I found, so I want you to just think this through, is that possibly you did something else in your life before you, and if not, you know, some people just come in and they just go with this and that's all, but sometimes you do have something that you did and you made a certain income. What I found after people have been in the company, not just been a director for not even a year, but sometimes for years, is that they inadvertently, they will stop at the same level where they made their highest check. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's not anything that nobody's done that study. I just have observed it. And So what's kind of fun is that definitely you would like to know what that number was because you want to, but it's not to equal it, but it is to surpass it. Yes, consistently and to a point. I don't think it's a conscious like I'm only going to go to that level, but I think sometimes there's a deserve level, or there's just a cap on what we can imagine that we should earn or could earn, and that goes into all kinds of psychological issues that happen. But I really and truly want to tell you that it does happen in this company, and not just, I don't mean in this company, Mary Kay, in an entrepreneurial kind of an atmosphere, it can happen. So that's when you say to yourself, one of the most significant things you can do is that you work on you. And so it's your deserve level, it's your leadership level, it's where you get to where you know what you should earn. And so again, when we talk about circumstances that happen, sometimes it impacts a husband. A certain number can threaten a husband, you know, or a certain number can, it's a reason why he wants to keep you here. Which, I'm not saying anything good or bad, I'm just saying that I've seen this so many times. And so it's just not even for you personally, but for women that you work with, as you start thinking about where are they in their lives and what could they see themselves accomplishing. I recently talked to a young woman, I don't know how many, 4 or 5 kids, young. They're still all, nobody's in high school, I don't think. I think they're all young kids. And a husband that never has been warm and fuzzy about Mary Kay, never. And at one time was in a Cadillac and is not now, okay? And I would think it might have something to do with the 5 kids moving, you know, being in a house and having to take care of everything. But he's constantly on her about Mary Kay isn't making enough money, that she needs to be making more money, And she was at a point where she, and I don't even know what it is, it's something with computers and JavaScript and, you know, all the things that you would have to do. And he's got that kind of a, you know, that's his thought process. Well, he, I want to say, wasn't proud, you know, wasn't encouraging, wasn't believing. And so she was going to do that and did all kinds of intensive studies to be prepared to go in and take a class that would cost a great deal of money and time to do that. And at the last minute, backed off. And it was not just backed off from a chance to make, but it was backing off from my husband will not be happy. My husband does not believe that I can do this with Mary Kay. You know, I mean, there was a major shift. Do you have, I mean, we don't sometimes have any idea where people that we are working with, you know, what's going on in their head, and you wonder, why don't they just go to that? Why don't they just do that? They're so capable. So to be conscious sometimes, and that's why we are relationship built, and that's why we spend the time talking to people and finding those things out, where you could call a husband who's excited, or you could call a husband who, you know, is not. So don't ask me why that teaching moment came into my mind. But,
Yeah. Meg, I wanted to thank you too, because your idea with the T status and getting them, we're working on finishing Honor Society at the end of May. And we have production, we crossed that over, we're over that now.
Good.
That's done. And it's just getting the people, and we basically need 25 people. And so I may use it again, but we'll see.
Did you save those things that I sent you?
Yeah, I did.
I use them I sit down
Yeah.
at the beginning of every month and I send those out. And I had people that I sent the I3 one this last month, and I had I3s get reactivated. That it helps, like, it takes the stress off of me of watching that number go from here to like it's like this massive drop. And so, I mean, my beginning of my month.
43, if those T status people would activate,
Yes.
like that's how close we would be to that 50.
Yes.
So you just tell everyone you need them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what I have
And
done, and
everyone-
this is not my story time to talk here, but, and I did not do it last month, and I could just kick myself in the butt. usually I'll go through the teas and just pick certain ones and send out a half price shipping Saturday or a half price shipping Sunday on your order. And they're like, how do I get it? You know what I mean? And sometimes I do it free, just depending upon where people like it. Usually half price will do it. And I just say you order and then I will send out checks. And so I give them, and I'll just, or I just put 10, I think I do it for $10 or whatever. But anyway, people will jump on that bandwagon to get that free shipping.
Yeah.
And some days I can get 3,000
It's
orders
Prime, Mary Kay
on a
Prime.
Yeah, right?
24-hour period.
24-hour window.
And that's about what we were short this month of what we were normally
Well, if
doing.
you're that close,
Yeah.
A
Really,
weekend
and
works
that's what I'm
best
saying
too to
is
do that.
You can sign on for $30 and it
one more day
still
for
counts the non-ordering. So even
Yeah.
if they're not ordered, like I just need people to be, and then if they do order, like that's even better.
Mhm.
So, and I hadn't thought about that. I was
Is
like,
this
wow.
your final month for that?
May
May,
31st?
okay.
Yep.
2 months.
good that you have time to start strategically
Yes.
looking at all of them,
Yeah,
right?
production's done. I'm not gonna leave $1,000 on the table like this.
Exactly.
It's a big deal.
It is a
So,
big deal.
Yeah.
That we like that, another stream of income.
That my husband
Okay.
said that.
Okay,
to me the other
Jody,
day.
I'm
He goes,
turning
What
to
are you
you."
gonna do with your bonus when you do unit club? What are he goes? No, he goes. What are we gonna do? And I'm like, we.
What am I gonna do?
Oh, you got a mouse in your pocket all of a sudden, you know?
Hey, Jody, you're up.
So what am I supposed to share here? I'm just excited to be here because I haven't been here for a while and I need it. I'm like, I need a lifeline.
November.
So thank you. Has it been that long?
Well,
I think so.
November. Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay,
anyway,
go on.
I'm here to be fed,
Mhm.
not just chili.
Bison.
Bison chili. You know, I sometimes get so engrossed in what is just happening, and I think last year, some of you may or may not know, I was the queen of sales for Sapphire Seminar, and so doing that high level, I have a high level
Expectation.
continuing, and like literally I will not order Mary Kay products without selling them. But I mean, I looked, my wholesale was 6,500 the last 3 months. I will be number 2 this year. One lady is ahead of me by 600 retail. That's probably worse. But anyway, I continually,
Wait a
I had
minute,
like,
you don't know that.
oh, she might. She's
Especially if
sticking
you
with
grasp
it.
the
No.
virtual world, you're gonna be the queen of everything. I
Oh,
ain't
no.
claiming that.
You can only, it's max. But I don't care. That's, but I'm
Oh,
like,
that's that max thing, isn't
Oh, it's
it?
65
yeah, she can
max.
max it out and still be there. But it's all good.
Is that
fine.
true that's, this is, we'll get
Yes,
back to
let's
what you're
chat what
saying,
you're
but
saying.
is that true what they say? I was talking to people who were telling me that there's a max you can do every month that counts towards the quart of sale. Is that true?
Yeah, 13,000 retail.
Yeah, and these people have done that. I mean, and they're
Right.
all the way, and they want it changed.
So they get.
Oh, those people want to change. Okay.
Yes.
I only, I order more before the holidays.
Can you
to
imagine?
stock
I mean,
up.
they were ticked. I was listening. I didn't even.
They need
I
to keep
didn't
it.
even know that it was. And why do you say that? Because it would go overboard?
I
Should it
think
be
it could
13
be.
or should
I
it
don't
be?
know.
But these people knew. The one she knew, like you said.
I knew last year.
To the dollar.
Yeah.
What
So they
everybody
can
else
order
had.
6,500 wholesale a month.
Yes. That's all that will count.
And that's all that will count.
I mean,
And
can
they
order
want more. And I'm assuming they're selling it. I mean, she
Yeah.
wasn't saying I'm doing it because, but she said I can sell the whatever out of this product.
So
And
you
why
can
would
only
they?
max out at 156,000.
Right.
Only. But
Well,
you know what I mean?
Right.
It's 156,000.
And they don't think that's
I
right.
mean, they're cranking out these numbers like it's normal. I'm like,
But I think about that. But I
But
think
that has
I-
become a normal for
But
me.
I think
get
You
that.
know what I
I get
mean? When
that.
you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have
500 wholesale a month.
that's awesome.
And,
And
so
she
what?
can't do it any more than
Yeah.
that.
So what if you get 4 people that did 156,000, and they did the same
could
thing?
be.
They maxed out 6,500 every month. Yeah, they're gonna have to change that.
There is a tiebreaker though, right?
So, I don't know what that would be. There's
don't
somewhere
have-
along
they
the
don't
line you
know.
got people give it. You know what I
They
mean?
don't
I'm like,
know
I
what it
only
is.
ordered like 2,000 wholesale in December because I didn't need product, and I'm not going to order product
Yeah,
if I don't
yeah,
need
yeah.
product. So, the one thing I did share with Tandy, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, and if you ever do that or not, it's a little incentive that one of my friends who is in the top started doing, and it's for every $50 that you spend, you can purchase like a half price item
have
that
seen
you
that.
select.
Yep.
And I started doing that, and I won't do like, and I don't have the time to make it up myself, but people absolutely love it, and they're like, thank you so much for the extra little deals, because I don't do a sale hardly ever. But if they can pick up energizing foot and leg treatment for half price, and a lot of them will take all of the, if they spend $300, I'm like, you can choose up to 6 items at half price. They love it. Now one of my friends shared that. There's one of them that has clinical solutions at half price. I will not do that because a lot of my customers paid full price, and I will not offer that at half price. So I think
As a set.
exactly. So like what they could get, like I think that last month they could get the Skin Vigorate brush was an expensive item. A lot of people would never buy that. Only 3 people took advantage of that. So that's what I'm doing there. You know what? We were down about 3,000 last month. We have been doing 20,000 or more wholesale almost every month, and I did not do that free shipping day
For your I3s?
for my I3s or Ts or whatever. And I feel like that really generates, and it has to, for me, it's typically on a weekend. Our month end was slower. I tend to find if the month end is on the weekend and they can get them orders in and stuff. So it's just kind of weird. And maybe
you
it was
just
just
mail them-
maybe people didn't need it.
So you just mail them a check and reimburse their
Yep.
shipping.
Or if they have Venmo, a lot of people
Yeah,
have Venmo
Venmo.
anymore, then it's a quicker, easier way. But that
Make
will
them
really,
order a minimum, or
you
is
know,
it like-
if for some people, if I was really trying to hit a goal, I would say if they reached, you know what I mean, who had already ordered, just to get them to, I might do half price shipping. If they were like at 100 wholesale, I wanted to get them to 225. But if it was someone that, yeah, I kind of pick and choose who I want to get that. I don't put it on Facebook. It's more of a personal invite type of texting type of thing. Just like an A3 person, I'm going to text them and tell them they have till the end of the month to.
And they'd feel special.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so that's exactly where we were lower. We've been doing over 20,000. We did 17,000. I'm feeling a little bit bad about that. Like I should have worked a little bit harder, but it is what it is. We've been traveling every month. My son and I, or my husband and I, have been on a trip, and I want to just share this. And I don't talk about money to many people, but getting our taxes done, and I made 25,000 more in commissions last year than the year before.
Wow.
And between commissions and bonuses, because I was as the queen and doing
Yes,
$500,000, there were some good
yes.
bonuses there, and I'm like, where can you make 25,000
More.
in a year's time? So I share that with the newer directors, and I've been a director for a long time, a Cadillac director for 20 years. So it's just very exciting. We have paid off. My husband, we don't have a mortgage. My husband has some business debt, and so we've paid a lot of that off in the last year. We've saved a lot. We've invested a lot. It is really a fun place to be. I had bought a pink Cadillac thinking I was going to drive it for quite a few years. You know what I mean? Actually, we earned the upgrade, and I sold that pink Cadillac for $29,500, and it was paid for. Wow. So that was a nice extra chunk in savings that we have. So it's just been a real blessing this past year has financially, and then the sales on top of it. So I'm saying, like, you know, when we quit doing weekly accomplishment sheets before I went away last week to Texas, I know I was over 12.5. So I'm like, you know what I mean? That's good extra income in a month. I just have an American Express savings account I put like $800 a week into for several of the last months. So that's just been, and I pay myself. I give myself a paycheck every week also. So that wasn't something I always did years ago. I just kind of let it all slush around in there and kind of wondered, but I don't pay myself a lot. My husband takes $550 from his business and I take $400, and our living expenses with no vehicle payments and no mortgage is so stinking cheap. It's amazing. But we still can save from that and give. So I don't know why I'm sharing all that, but I'm just,
It's good to share, Jody.
You know?
I feel like that's a very good thing to share.
I just feel that it's been a very much a blessing, and I keep saying, I'm like, what do I really want? I have all this extra money. Is there anything I really? There's not much I really want. There really isn't. I want to go to simple little things, like a little trip or something. You know what I mean? But my husband doesn't get a lot of time off from his business, so he doesn't take a lot
So
of
you
time
can't
off.
do a lot, but
Right.
but you do run away with Jack
Yeah.
a little bit.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes when
Absolutely.
you can,
So.
and then if he can. And you don't know what'll ever come up where there might be some.
Oh, there's a house that I'd like if it
Oh,
comes
I
up
was
for
gonna
sale.
say,
Trust
there's-
me.
There's-
We're buying the lot next to us
Yes,
this
there's
month just to
usually
protect it from a business coming in there and so forth. So 'cause we live kind of close to a main road, so we're gonna. Yeah, it's nice.
I know, to be
It's
able
nice
to
not to
make
have to go to a
those.
bank whenever you want money.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
been there a lot of different times.
Or
you know,
feel
so-
guilty about spending it.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Or you decide to do a
have to-
shopping
or
weekend,
have to
right, Jody?
count it, right? I mean, count it, like, I just remember years ago when I would have to, you'd almost write the checks out before you got your check, and they were all gone. And the money was back to zero.
Absolutely, we've
All
been through
those
all of
times.
those things. So, wow, it's fun,
Well,
fun.
It was a good,
But I needed you guys. You guys, you know what? I'm
Thank
like,
you.
I've been having a lot of fun making decent,
thinking
really
like,
good money, but I'm like, I need the women, I need the people who think the same,
appreciate
who
that.
encourage, who make you reach higher and all that. That's why we're here. Because tomorrow I could get a call and be at school and be homeschooling again for 2 weeks, because that's happened twice now, and it puts me in a little bit of, and when that happens, the lady who works for me will not come into work because she has high risk of health and so forth. So when I have Jack home with me, he has Down syndrome, and you need to be there for every pen stroke when he writes a letter, seriously, because he's great, he's smart, but he's all over the page. You know what I mean? So you go, yeah. So anyway, I need
You didn't
all.
sign up for that class.
I didn't sign up for that one, no.
No, I mean, that's what a lot of parents are saying. I didn't sign up for this class to do this with my kids. I'm not cut out
He's
for
12.
that.
But just to be driving down the road and coming here, I'm like, I have freedom, and that's just taken away, and everything changes. So you just gotta, and that's really you work when you can, and I do work when I can. Trust me, I work a
And
lot
it
of
makes
late
it
nights,
fun
and
too,
it
when you're like,
does.
oh, I get to work today. Yay!
I thought about that with summer coming out. I was like, oh, I better get my whole year because then I'm gonna have 2 to watch when
Instead,
You need the help,
yes.
absolutely.
Okay, let's do this. I like to see this.
Oh, I got it. Oh goodness, what do you
I know I
got?
finished all
mean,
mine.
It's
I gotta
okay.
get with it. don't
Here.
I?
It's your,
Oh.
it's to make you look at where
Okay.
you land, so you find out which level you're in. Somebody, oh, I know, it must have been, that's who it was. Remember when I told you I couldn't remember everything Jill said? She said, this time I got to move up to level, I got to move over a level. And prior to that, I was getting like 5, 6, or even almost to 7 in level 1. And now I got to level 2 this time, and I got 5 of them. And she said, so that made me feel so
I
good
need this.
that I have stretched to that point where I went up a little bit. So if we're looking, we'll just go through, and if you could put your hand up, if you did the percentage of ordering, so you know that you reached your level of what percentage ordered. So get your hand up, okay?
Look at that. I'm not-
Okay, and so then we won't do it real loud, but we will do it. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then we do what? Okay, ready? Okay, get your hand up because you did that. It's 1, 2, 3. Woo! Okay, I like those woos. I think everyone deserves a woo in their life.
I agree.
You know? Okay, and then your next one is how many new unit members did you have and what category? So if in your lane, so to speak, or your lane, how many got what they needed for new team members? Okay,
Good job.
I've got, yes?
I surpassed what I.
Oh, that's even better, isn't it? Okay, so we've got 3 people are very excited that their hands are up. Yes? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Okay, all right. Now,
Right here.
my unit size, this one I always will tell you is my favorite. Because when I see unit growth consistently month after month after month, whether it's, and I'm gonna say even by 1, it makes a huge difference so that at the end of the year, you're somewhere where you're 12 or 24 or something. So if you have unit growth where you saw your unit went up in the month of March, would you get your hand up that you had unit growth? Okay, unit growth. Yes, all right, look at there. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3. You know, it's those big units that have the hardest time with that unit growth because they go down so dramatically sometimes. You can have such a drop to have to grow by 1.
You know, Jeannie, that one I've made every month, but this month I did not. I got a little sidetracked and forgot my I3s and Ts. I got sidetracked and I didn't do it.
You
And
got
we-
vertigo.
Yeah, got a little sidetracked, but yeah.
Okay.
We're here for the reminders, thank you. How important.
Jamie's gonna tell you it's better to have your hand up or better not, right, Jamie?
I said I wrote down I had 30%, 42% order.
Can't pull mine off.
What in the
Let's start over.
world?
Oh, yeah, that has updated.
That makes,
It just updated. How does that get so?
oh yeah, everybody's
new production?
update just went up so they could see
funny.
what they did. They
Mine
finally,
was my car, so I was okay with that. I wasn't worried about the rest of it.
so, but I'm gonna keep going that you can't let that unit size even slide even for a month because once you let it slide for a month, then you're behind, so to speak, from what you were, where you want to be by the end of June. So just a thought to keep looking at unit
She's stirring
size.
me up.
Yeah. That's what you signed up for. Right?
I like to
That's what
provoke.
we're here.
I like
That's
to
why I'm-
provoke people if I
Drove this
can.
far and came
To
late
be
'cause I'm
provoked.
here.
So if there's ever you leave feeling provoked, I'm gonna feel so happy. That's my favorite thing to do, is provoke people.
Holy cow.
Okay, so
53% of ordering consultants.
Yes.
don't you feel good
I think I
about
had
it?
72.
You could have 54
Well, you
to
little
order
hot
an extra
dogs, you
100.
guys.
We had a lot going on knowing that last month.
Okay.
I was excited. My mom's like, I don't even want to talk to you about your ordering percentage
As
right
Meg
now. I'm
said,
like,
just don't tell me. Jamie, just
I
don't
need to
tell
tell you,
me.
it holds me accountable.
Okay, personal wholesale, and we've got to get to the 650. Get your hand up. We got a lot of people on Queens Court of Sales here, so we go 1, 2, 3. Whew. Okay, new personal team members. Those are always looking good. Okay, everybody, personal team members. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we have total non-T personal team members. And that's our goal, is to up that ante and get yourself to where you are at that level. Okay, so at whatever level you're at, you need to be there. Okay, so then we go 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Do you know that 30,000 moved her over where she had to have 40 or more? Did you see that?
She's got it. She's
Isn't
probably
that
got
good?
70.
I do have 70 exactly.
But isn't that so good when you think about that there could be a situation where you got to 30 but you didn't have your personals?
You know what's funny is I'm looking in the wrong level. I forgot it over
This
here.
level by
You forgot what?
She's in 30. She's
I'm
not.
in the 20 level. I was like, oops.
She forgot she moved over to 30 this month.
That's fun though, Sandy. When you get to
Yeah.
middle level, you're like, oh, wow.
It is, but
It's
isn't
good
that
middle
awesome
level.
to still be there?
Yes.
Yes.
Except
And
for one.
and then we're gonna have. Well, we always want you to not quite be there, so you
Okay.
get angst. I like you have a little angst.
I definitely have some eggs.
I have a little
Okay.
angst too.
And then we have the personal recruiter commission, and are you at that level that you're supposed to be? Yes? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've got, and how many, so out of in your lane, how many have, you've done at least 1, get your hand up. You've done 2, okay?
Is this the lane we're trying to get to?
No, it's
the
where
lane
you are.
you're in.
The one you are. You have 1, you have 2, you have 3 where you are. You have 3.
sorry.
You have 4.
I'm gonna steal one of these if that's
Definitely, 4.
I'm not doing that.
Okay, you have 5. You have 5. Look at that. 5. Isn't that good? You have 6. You have 6. Oh, that's so good. Anybody have 7? Oh. And you know what happens when you're at 7? It's time to what? Move to a new
For the
lane.
one I'm trying to get to, I had 6. But my
Good.
production is still at level 2.
Yes, but that's, it just, it shows that you start moving
Yes.
over to, you know,
Yeah.
your stuff starts
I think
moving
I was
over
in
to
level
that
two
level,
this
and it makes you feel so good.
Oh, I did
That
move up
maybe
a
you
level.
could attach these to the
Oops.
emails that you send out.
I didn't realize that until I just looked, but I did
Try to
qualify. I was
remind me
at
to do
7.
that.
Yeah.
I would
It just
love
might
to.
be-
Might be so much more helpful, wouldn't
Do the
it?
email with this and then
There's
that
a
Google
couple-
sheet.
Just
I know that
remind
Google
me to
sheet
do
gets
it.
a
Like,
little
if I
long.
send something, go, hey, could you?
Personal
Okay.
wholesale.
I gotta be
yeah,
reminded.
I have 5
Okay.
members.
But I will.
Okay.
Yes.
Way
Yes.
to go, girls.
Okay, I thought if I have time, and I do have some time,
Yeah.
I thought you might like to hear a little bit about my trip.
Yes.
Not my trip that I went on a trip, but my trip with some of the people that I was able to around on that
The
trip.
wedding that you went to, you mean?
The wedding
Okay.
was a great trip.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, by the way,
Where
my
was
sister
that
was honing in on
It was
all
at
those pictures.
Lynchburg,
She gave
Virginia.
me the
What-
Amy's like, I want to look like the mom at the wedding that Jeannie was just at.
Do
I'm like,
you
Amy,
know-
nobody's gonna look like
Do
the
you
mom.
know
at
what
that
my
wedding.
hairdresser
in the
saw
bride.
it, and she made me send her pictures of the mom's dress and
Oh,
the
yeah.
bride.
Amy
'cause
wants her hair like
daughter's.
the mom had her hair. I'm like, Amy, you ain't gonna be that mom. I'm just saying. I know.
It was funny. But, so there's 2 moms that
Yeah.
were wanting all
They're
those
both
pictures.
planning weddings, yes.
It was probably one of the most gorgeous wedding parties that I've seen in my life. It was like, holy smokes. If you don't know, Audrey McDowell is a trip-taking director, and I met her on several trips, she and Todd, when I was going on trips, and that's how I met her. And then she has twin daughters and a son. And so the twin daughters, when they turned, like when they're 18 or 19, they go to Liberty College in Lynchburg. I think they were sophomores when Audrey wanted me to come there, and I did an event for her, and they have a summer home. I don't know where they were, but we drove to their summer home. So we did a summer home with her directors. I can remember doing this with her directors, her offspring. She has a deep desire to be a national. So anyway, we did that, and at that time, the girls had both become directors, and they were sophomores in college. And I remember having a conversation with the one who got married, but she at that point was doing exceptional. She had an offspring already, and I think at that point she maybe was thinking, why would I stay going to college? And honest, it was in a bedroom, and I can tell you where I was sitting and what we were doing, and we had a very intense conversation, and I'm just sharing it because it doesn't matter, go to college, not go to college, but what I said to her, because it wasn't the right reason, I said, yeah, you look pretty impressive to all those young kids right now, all those young women, and there you are, you're gorgeous, and you got all this going for you, and you're successful. I said, what happens after you graduate in about 10 years down the road, and all these women that have degrees, and you're wanting to sponsor them into the company? You're going to be up there, be able to really have that conversation with them. I'm not sure if that did or didn't make a difference, but she looked at me and she said, I will graduate. I said, I'm glad to hear that. And her mom and dad really were worried that she maybe wouldn't. But she did graduate with a Cadillac and $500,000, and she just got married at 22 years old.
Wow.
So I'm just going to tell you, her sister, who wanted to go into a different degree, backed off from being a director, and so she's not a director now. So anyway, that's how I got there, was because I had a relationship with. So I was really excited to go to that wedding. When I was going to that wedding, let me see if I can give you the history of it. Audrey's national is Dawn Dunn, who lives somewhere close to there. Audrey's second line is Lene Tate, who's a national.
Wow.
So that's her second line director. So if that makes sense.
But
So
Audrey's not a national yet. Okay.
no, but she's got her
But
second
she'll
line.
be a senior national when she becomes a national. 'Cause
And I don't know how that all works,
Okay.
what they call it, but that's possible. But she won't ever get any commissions from
Right.
from that
Exactly.
national. So anyway, that's how that I knew. Well, what I did know was Lene Tate and her husband John G. We had met and done a few things, like I don't know, like when we were in Rome one time, we went out to dinner. We had a dinner with them. And then the last time, on the last night of the cruise, we ate with John G. and Lene. So I felt like I knew them, and I knew they lived somewhere close to where Audrey was. I didn't know if they might be going to the wedding. I knew they were connected. They all know each other. So I said to Lene, Lene, we're going to be there at this wedding. I would like to go to John G.'s church. He's a pastor. And could we come? And she said, it's a half hour from where the church is from where we were going to be staying. And I said, we're going to be there Saturday night. I want to go. So that precipitated the conversation. And I just said, if there is anything ever, you would do something? I said, yeah, I love to do stuff if I can. So her director is Jamie Taylor, who, if anybody follows Jamie, was tracking national. And she is 29. And she said, well, let me talk to Jamie, because Jamie lives now in Tennessee. She moved there 2 years ago. Her husband got a job near Nashville. And she said, but she's coming home to her, because her mom is from Lynchburg, and she's going to be here because she's going to be working with her, some of the people, the directors she has here, because she has 2 DIQs that have to finish. So she talked to Jamie, and Jamie said, that would be awesome. Would you come on Saturday morning, and Monday morning. So we would have stayed an extra day. She said, will you stay an extra day? I said, yeah. I don't have like some big thing that I have to get done. So on Monday morning, we went to Jamie's mom's house in Lynchburg. And she had, and you could look at the picture, I'm not sure how many of her directors came, but somebody came from Maryland. Some of them were from, different places, and 2 of them were DIQs that needed to finish in a month. You understand? They need to finish directorship to be able to finish national. It's a big deal. It was a big deal. She's 29. There might have been somebody there that was maybe 30 something. The rest of them were all younger than 29. There was 20, 22, 24. Okay? I'm going to share. Remember, I wasn't there I was supposedly training, but I was really listening very carefully to what was happening because I felt like I needed to hear what it was that was going on because I feel this company needs her to finish national with a bunch of young people. That's what I feel. I feel like there's nothing against all of us that have been in this company for many years, but I don't see many of the young people moving. I'm just saying. I don't know if that's true, but in our geographic area, I don't see it, and I don't know if it's happening in other parts. But it was very exciting to see this and how it was transpiring. So as I, watched and observed and, thought about, I asked some questions, Lene said, I don't know anybody more optimistic than Jamie. Like she goes in and everybody she sees, it's potential, it's positive, things are going to work out. It's just, this is just the way that it's going to be. She said, I don't know her. And I don't know Jamie. That was the first time that I'd ever really met her. And she was at her mom's house with a 2-year-old, okay? And the 2-year-old still wanted mom, right? And they tried to have a babysitter there, but, mom and grandma were right there. So that was interesting. 3 people bought babies. One was like 3 months old, one was 9 months old, one was a year. So 3 people brought babies. So I'm saying this is not like they're all, single or they're all, no kids or whatever. 3 of them had babies. One I know had to go home because there were 2 coming home from preschool. Or, there's a lot of babies that were involved here. It wasn't like, this is so easy because they've got this situation. It was just, the babies on the arms. She did have somebody that was kind of helping to watch, but, we're just going to get this done. That's all there was to it. She created, and I heard this as we were walking there was another one walking towards, and I can't even use the right lingo, but in Instagram, you don't call it a moniker, what do you call your name in Instagram? Handle. Okay, one said, is that cool? Look at her Cadillac, her license plate is her handle. It's like, really? Okay, yeah. I would have thought of that. I don't know. But there you go. See, there you go with a whole new thought process of what is the way things are done. And very much, they communicate a lot with, it sounded like, with Instagram was there. And Jamie, I'm guessing if any of you know who she is, you watch her. And if you watch her, I think you're watching her on Instagram because it sounded like that was her venue of choice. Because one of the women said that I sat around because they made breakfast, they had breakfast for them before, and she said, I live, and it was kind of where her husband grew up, okay? Jamie's husband, not in Lynchburg, where her husband grew up. I started watching Jamie, and I watched her on Instagram, and I didn't know what she did, but I wanted to do what she did. Because whatever she did looked really cool. And I wanted to meet her and get to do that. And so from Instagram, she made a point of meeting her and is now one of her directors. Not from that geographic area, never knowing her at all, but watching her. And another one said the same thing. I watched her on Instagram before I ever got involved in Mary Kay. But I just watched her, and I wanted whatever it was that she had.
She works her Instagram. Big time.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is this was a way different way of looking at what people do, okay, and how they operate their business. The two that were having to finish, one of them already had 6,500 in, and that was like a week or so before the end. She had her production was done. She just needed to finish the people to do her, and it's 30 now, so she had to get 30 to finish with 30. And the other one, I think, probably had more. She was quieter and didn't talk that much, but I know that Jamie was there to work with both of them, and obviously worked, because I asked Lene on the, on that last day, she said, and that you understand, you don't automatically, it's not like it's gonna pop up on that screen and say you did what you did and now you're a national. That isn't how it works. It's when you finish national, it goes in front of a board, and then they look at all kinds of things, and they decide whether or not you'll be appointed. So I just want to clarify that. It doesn't matter if she has all what she thinks her ducks are in a row.
So that's different from when you did it.
No.
It was like that for you too?
Yeah, we had to be appointed.
Oh, we just thought we were.
I know, but I would say that to you.
Yeah.
And she's saying it to her people too.
Sure.
They totally thought that's all they had to do was finish and they would be national. But Lene said, Mike Strong made clear that they'll be. But I wanted to share with you that in her lineage, they have 8 Cadillacs. They have 7 Equinox level. They had, oh my gosh, they have 1 executive, I think a future, and maybe like 5 or 6 seniors that they had in that group of her directors. So it wasn't it was a strong family that they were going in. And I think that Lene was hoping that strength that she was showing in who she had. The one that was the future, the executive, the one that was the executive wants to be a national, Megan. Her name was Megan. And she wants to be a national, and she was sitting there. Anything I said, she was totally absorbing it for herself, because I mean, she was like, I'm moving on. And she, I know, had 2 little kids, 2 little ones, because she's the one that had to leave to go pick up 2 of them that were in like preschool aged kids that she had. So that was one thing I wanted to share with you, all right? That was just my observations. It was a morning session, and I had to be back for some call at noon, so I could only be there in the morning. That night, Lene asked, I said, I can stay, and she wanted to have her directors that were anywhere geographically close. Could they come to a restaurant? Well, the restaurant made a big deal, like acting like they had restrictions on how many could come, to be, and really they would have let more in, and she was so disappointed because she had to tell people they couldn't come. So she was irritated that they had acted like, you couldn't come into this room unless we can only have this many. So she had as many as she could that would be there for that night. This is what struck me. I'll show you this. There were 4 women that I took a picture of, okay? So she had been one of Lene's directors. This is in this interim of COVID. She had an offspring. That director had an offspring. And that director had an offspring. So I was taking a picture of 4 directors, and 3 of them had become directors through this quarantine time, through the pandemic time. I thought that was pretty impressive. Would you say? And then one of them who came was one of Jamie's, who couldn't come during the day. She had become a director at 18 and then fell off. And she just became a director again at 19. And she said, I'm not even going to tell you how close I am to the Equinox, because you'll be on my case. They got to know me so fast. She said, I'm not even going to tell you how close I am. But she's just turned 20. And she was that close to the Equinox. And one of her comments that I want you to know, there was a director there saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to Louisiana to work with one of my people that I want to be a director. I haven't been on a plane, blah, blah. She said, I told her, she said, well, what do you want me to do? And she said, I was telling her, you want to have a lot of people get trays. And she said, what's a tray? And that director, who's just 20, said, I don't think any of my unit members would even know what a tray was. They'd never done a live facial. Not one of her people who were in her unit had ever done a live facial. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this to stop thinking that it has to be your way or the way that it's always been done and that it's not going to work and that's the only way. And this group of the 1, 2, 3, 4, they were making comments about going, like one of them was a teacher. I remember that. She was a teacher. I don't remember what the other ones, I didn't have enough time to get to know everybody there, but it was kind of like somebody said, well, why would I do that? That was her question, like, why would I want to do that? Like, who could I get that's going to come? Or where am I going to have to go? It was that question of, and these were more 30s. These were more 30s, not 20s. The other ones, I'm saying they were 20s that I was looking at, but these were more, I'd say 30s. But they were just like, why would I do that when this works so well? So I just, want to keep you in that framework. Don't say, oh, now we have to go back, or now we need to go back, or this is the only way. Okay, there was something else. Okay. Then I was listening because obviously you're virtually sound and you're selling tons of product. How much are you recruiting online? That was my question. Because if that doesn't happen, there can't be growth. Well, if they were building directors, they're recruiting. They are not just selling product. So I was listening to the one who had these 3. Okay, so she's got that. Okay, so I was listening to her. And she said, we just did a virtual, I don't know if it was last night. We just did a virtual last night. Must have Sunday night, whatever. We've done 3. Okay. Now, it wasn't just her unit. I think she said there were 6 units that did it, so 6 directors. And she said, and they gave away prizes. There was a lot of prize giving. And it was like Kate Spade bags. It was, the whole thing that cash. Okay, so you've all heard of this, but I'm going to ask you if you heard of this, because she said the first 2, I was recruiting 9 out of 10 people. We were recruiting, averaging 9 out of 10. This one, I recruited 1 out of 10. And she said, what in the world is going on? So she said that's what they were talking about at the table that I was sitting at. They were analyzing why would that. And by the way, she had 80 people on. So that was her unit had 80. That event had 600. So 80 people of hers were on. And she said, we're changing it. And the difference is, prior to this, we would have on the new consultant, and it was her very first, she just had a debut and sold $1,000. And we had this one where she, joined and she just made $60 at a da-da-da-da. And we just had a consultant sheet, and that's who talked. At this last one, we had the seasoned directors talk. They don't want to know that you just, you sold off all your stuff, or that you made this much money and you've been on trips. They don't care about that. The people who were on the call wanted to hear about the people who were more like them, and they were making money that they can't make waiting tables, that they can't make that kind of money. And she said, we're changing it. That won't happen again. So I thought that was probably the most valuable thing that I could bring home, was to have sat there next to her and listened to her and say, because that's how we were, you always had the big dogs talk about, oh, I got a check that's, 10,000, 20,000. That doesn't mean anything to them because they don't see themselves. But to have made $500 in a week, yeah, I could add that to my $500. And it was people, and the other part is, I have 2 kids at home. I'm 22 years old, and I, spent 2 hours last night doing blah blah, and I just made X amount of dollars.
In my sweatpants.
In my sweatpants. Yeah.
because these people didn't go anywhere. So I hope that that is of value to you, that is something, because that's really what, to me, I just was there and I went, well, I think I'll bring this home.
Yeah.
I think we should share this, and we should have a thought process of a whole group of people who I saw were doing Mary Kay in maybe a little different way than how we have grown up doing it, and not say, hey, being not just a little successful, but extremely successful. So, new generation. So, shall we thank these people for coming on?
Yes.
And watching this, if you did watch it, I hope I gave you, and all of the people gave you something of value. And in May, Amy's gonna try to see if the Gibsons is gonna allow us to have more than 6 people at a table. And if they do, we'll probably be meeting at Gibson's next time. And if not, we'll be right back here at this table.
And what day is that?
We don't have that date, do we,
Okay.
Amy? I don't believe that we set up a date for that.
May.
Because I don't think I wrote anything down.
May 4th, Jamie, sorry. May say, or Sarah, did you say May 4th? May 4th.
May 4th.
I'm wearing my Star Wars ears.
I would have to,
You wanna check to make sure that's okay?
I might have to change something, so I can't say that for sure. I'll call when I get done. Okay, so we'll let you know.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's great.
perfect. If not, it'll be the next week, if we want to keep it on Tuesdays. Yes? Okay, you can